Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. This is just a general share advice and not personal, as per this beautiful disclaimer written on the front here.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful, Wolf. It is beautiful. Designed by the one and only Karen.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, the one girl.
Lovely colors of ours.
Yeah, lovely colors. They used to be very different, the old Equity Story page. I preferred the old one, but that's because
You're old school though. You're like, Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, I love Maggie. Okay, let's talk. Let's talk shares, right?
All right, let's do it. We've got a few announcements this morning to go through.
You're laughing about Maya, but talk about the charts never lie.
I'll tell you what, Maya's laughing at me for laughing at them. That's what's happening.
So, okay, it's in the share price, that move up, yeah. Dare I say, is this as good as it gets for Maya?
Oh, absolutely. I can't imagine this is going to accelerate from here. I mean, look, Dave, the numbers were today pretty good, right? There's just no denying it. That's why it's probably going up. So there's a massive recovery on the part of Maya, where there've been a dog, sales were going backwards, and I don't know, strangely enough, or maybe the management has done an incredible job to turn the whole thing around. Maybe the circumstances as well helped them, and maybe we've just underplayed how good the actual retail space is, right? Because we talked about it, interest rate rising, who's going to be buying anything, all these sort of things, people going online anyway to buy stuff. Yet, I think, they're definitely surprised. They surprised me 100%. And you look at it, total sales, 24%, 25%, store sales, 37 or 38%. It's the actual online sales that drop back.
But surely you'd be a bit nervous if you're the RBA when you're looking at this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. If I'm the RBA, I'm thinking, come on, this is the whole idea of the rising interest rate. We got to.
You know what? If you look at Maya on that long-term chart, now I suppose they've been raising a lot of money down here, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think you can really look at the chart per market cap per se, could you?
No.
But I mean, okay, if you took it simply, there's a bit of resistance down here, and maybe it will struggle to get through that dollar. And if you were trending this is you'd be taking a profit right now.
I think so. I think so. I think it's had a pretty good run. It's looking a bit stretched for me. Saying that though, Dave, the only thing I can make a case for this, right, is when you look at the actual outlook here, and I'm just reading through the Maya statement that they've put out. Maya currently expects the first half net profit after tax to be between 61 and 61 million, right? So they're actually quite profitable. That's up between 89 and 104% over first half 2022. So they're almost doubling their profits. So they're going from a low base, but they still got, I suppose, a bit of a runway. Even if it slows down a bit from 100 maybe to, I don't know, 20, 30%, it's still got something there to probably go on with.
Well, this is one I got excited about when it broke out there.
I know.
And since then, it's it's up 30%. I mean, you could argue take a profit if it gets over $1. You have another look at it.
I agree. I think so. It's just got a good run. If you're doubling your money, then absolutely you'd be probably looking at this.
Or you'd be taking some chips off the table, wouldn't you?
Yep.
All right. Well, talk to me about Codan.
Okay.
Because this was a no-brainer, which turned out to be we had to cut it, right?
That's a zombie no-brainer.
So it went down to old resistance around. Look at this on the charts; it's amazing. Like old resistance at $4.
Yep.
And it's having a move up on what was an encouraging announcement today.
A much better than expected announcement, because we're expecting them to struggle a bit. Yes, today they've basically said that they're doing better than internal expectations and the guidance they gave, right? So when you look at that first couple of lines, that the revenue is expected to be in the range of 198 to 15. And I think that unaudited revenue is going to be 212, which is right at the top of the guidance they gave, right? Then they talked about that net profits on the guidance that they gave in October would give them between 25 and 30 million in profit. Yet they're talking about that the profit will actually approach 31 million, so just above the actual guidance they gave. So this is better than expected. This is nice, because we need as an investor, under promise, over deliver to win back over the investor fraternity, right? And this is a good start.
So is this an all-time record revenue from the company?
No. We they've talked about before that it's dropped down on the back of lower sales in Africa.
I mean, I'm just interested. What's the difference now in revenue from when it was $19 to now $5?
Okay, well let's work it out, right? Because remember back in those days they were probably trading on about 30-40 times, right? Now they're trading about 7.
Yeah, well, that's
different.
But I'm just interested to see. There's a lesson in here, Wolf, on valuations of companies, right?
Yeah, there's valuations and also expectations, right? That's probably the other thing, is that you're looking at these. So let's have a look what they come up with back in the record year, which was I think last year. Let's have a look. Hang on. Investor statutory accounts, and let's see what they've delivered. So look at this. So record underlying net profits after tax of 100 million, right? Which was up 3% from the previous year. So that was the record for them. And they had what, 506 million bucks in sales. And on today's update, if I say let's do another double from here, so the 31 million, so there's going to be 62 million. So that's going to be from 100 to 62 million. That's a big drop by about 40%, right, in profit.
Yeah.
Okay. And also you're probably looking at about a 20% drop in revenues from 500 million to about 400 million odd. So that's the difference between the previous year and what this year is going to deliver. So the question is now, right? You'd ask me, what is it right now?
It's quite what is interesting is that the revenues are highest at the top of 500 million, and now maybe they could be 400 million.
Yep, that's right.
So not a huge drop in revenues, but you are seeing
it's not disastrous, no.
Yeah, but you are seeing what margins getting squeezed.
Yep, absolutely. Margins getting absolutely hammered, understandably so, of course, with costs and everything else going through the roof, right? But the question really is always, how do you take this? How do you value this? And of course, the market went savage and really marked them down from 30 times to 7 times. So the question is, have they overdone it? Possibly. But the problem is, Dave, remember, is that the problem is they overpromised and underdelivered. And the market really marks that really harshly. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you come up with that sort of commentary, you are going to be absolutely smashed. And it's going to take a bit of time before the market returns back to believing what the management says. And this is a good start. So for me, yeah, it's probably undervalued, but I'm not going to touch it until I see a little bit more out of them, and maybe wait for the full half-year report, maybe even wait for the next 3 months or so. This is to see how the share performs.
I mean, it's definitely, a good recovery. And and if we're going to just stick it on the charts, we're not going to buy this. We just want to see a better story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And I think, look, at least there's a first step, right? There's a green shoots appearing.
Okay, very good. Now, Osforex. And again, interesting, like charts don't lie. So it's broke through trend, really good story, trending beautifully. People in the know thinking maybe this quarter isn't going to be quite as good, and down she goes.
Yeah, it's strange because they've actually been updating pretty well, right? That's why it's been trending pretty well. But when you look at the numbers, it was just a little bit weak, from quarter to quarter, and that's probably why there's a drop down. So on the previous corresponding period, so 12 months ago, the numbers look versus the PCP, which is the previous corresponding period, up 40%, up 42%, up 12%, up 10%. But if you look at quarter on quarter, so from previous quarter, which is the September quarter to December quarter, anemic to get to down, Dave. So pretty much no growth. It's actually gone backwards. And this is why probably the market's going, well, what's happened this quarter that's drove everything back?
Well, in some ways it's understandable. There's, maybe the market, starting to calm down a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah. There's probably a lot of reasons, I'd say, Dave. We've got changing conditions with interest rates, with inflation, with people traveling, not traveling. There's a lot of different things that possibly could be affecting our effect. So I certainly would not be going, this is dead now, or long term, right? Maybe short term, yes, for a trader, you're probably out. But I'm thinking, okay, just give them another quarter. Let's see what happens, right? I would certainly not be panicking on this.
All right, SFR.
Interesting. I know I went through it a bit detailed because I just wanted to see where they actually stand as a copper play, because we're obviously missing something. And I tell you what, I'm a little bit worried about SFR as a company, because they're going to be selling the Grusa operations. So they, this is what they made the name of. The initial discovery, the Grusa here in Australia. This is what they've been mining. But now they've come to the end of the mining, and they're going to look like they want to offload it and sell it to someone, right? Maybe someone smaller that wants to make a couple of bucks on it, still left. So they're in the process of looking at this as a sale. So now they're going to be mining in Spain, right? And you always go, oh my God, not Spain, right? And now also they are building a mine in Botswana. So it's not as if it's going to be safe jurisdictions, Dave, for me. So it's going to be much more riskier play for me when I look at it. So is it going to be super duper? No, it isn't. It's going to be a hard slog for me, I'd say. And if you look at the long-term, Dave, chart on this, it doesn't inspire too much confidence either.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, it's been a great trend, a great hot stock. Take profits, take profits, take profits.
Yep, great.
PRU.
Yes.
Gold play, Africa, trending quite nicely, Wolf. Anything to cheer on the announcement?
Yeah, very good numbers, Dave. Very good numbers. Their AISC, which is the all-in sustaining costs, $1,000. Dave, I mean, this is exactly why you probably want to buy this, or you want to own it as a gold story if you're looking for the low cost producers. And that's probably for me, Dave, one of the key factors of Africa is at least it's cheap to mine, right? So
yeah,
there's
I mean,
the bonus of actually doing work over there. I know it's risky in other ways, but at least it's cheap.
Yeah, child labor is pretty cheap, isn't it?
Exactly.
Well,
some Chinese labor comes in.
Yeah, listen, I think it's important to mention that. I mean, I'm not saying PRU use child labor at all. I'm not saying that at all, right?
No.
But in Africa, that goes on, and it's terrible.
Yeah, it is. But it's unfortunate, but it is cheap. That's why it's probably making a lot of money, PRU, and it is. They're still on track. So all the budgets have been pretty much hit or exceeded in this quarter. So I'm liking this from that point of view. Low cost producer, you got to still liking it.
And look, great trending stock and well worth a look at. Let's have a look at 29M.
Yeah. So I look, the reason I looked at it, because it's another copper play, and I wanted to see it versus Sandfire today, and a huge difference between the two. So Sandfire's C1 costs were about 174.5. 29M's was $2.70 something, right? So that's $1 more. So this is a high cost producer, 29M. They're probably still making just a little bit of cash, but I tell you what, not quality. Not quality.
All right. Well, the chart's agreeing with you, Wolfie. DEG, which the charts are liking, and has been a great trade for us. We sort of suggested take profits. It's starting to look a little bit tired up here around that resistance of 160. But did you have a chance to have a look at the DEG announcement?
No, because they're not producing anything, right? So at this stage, it's just going to be summary of what they've done previously, which is probably still pretty good, because it's all been positive. They haven't really had a misstep. So from that point of view, I think as steady as she goes, and getting towards that next step.
Lynn, some more positive news. It hasn't done much to the share price.
No, so this is the guys in Congo looking at this rare earths. That looks like a pretty interesting deposit in the making. And again, more thick hits, high grades of rare earths. But Congo for me is probably a step too far.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, wouldn't you? I mean, if you're going to go risky, I had a look at PBL. They had a good buy signal actually, Wolf, this week.
Is this the guys in Mongolia? Is that the one?
Yeah. Is Mongolia? I suppose it's safer than.
It depends in what it's. They probably don't have child labor.
Yeah, but what's the danger about? What's dangerous about Mongolia? Do they?
I look. I don't think there's any danger, but I think they're trying to mine something there. It's going to be pretty difficult, as you can see what's happening with the Rio for a long time. So
pretty cold. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just a yeah, probably just the jurisdiction is just very hard to actually get a mind going in that space.
All right, evolution, another gold play. Just struggling a little bit, Wolf, to get through that 350.
I think this update is actually gives it a bit more impetus, Dave. I like it because we talked about it that they're going to come up with something a bit better than previously, and they have. So the costs have dropped down. They got a higher gold price. So all those things equate to me that is still a hold, if not a buy, if you're thinking the gold price is going to go up to $2,000 plus. So I actually enjoyed that EVN update today. It was one with relief. I'm thinking, okay, they're on the right track to improve the operations pretty much.
All right, and if it's a hold, like you said, maybe a buy it off the daily.
Yep.
If you got the opportunity, then.
Agree.
Because on the weekly it needs to do a little bit more. And how's old Kogan? How's he doing?
Still struggling. When you look at it, another week.
Hang on.
This is, you know what the funny thing is?
Kogan is not struggling. I think he's got his yacht in Melbourne Harbour. He's got
the
his
man himself is not. Yes,
but he's very happy.
I think it's interesting what's happening here, and I think I'm understanding it now. So we've seen Maya's report, and you see the online sales actually going backwards. So people are going back out there on feet and going to shopping centers and going to Maya, and they actually pulling back from buying online. And exactly this is what you see with Kogan. Their actually sales were pretty weak, right? And this is just on online business. So
are we seeing
online businesses? Great for businesses like they've got the brick and mortar.
Is this a reaction after COVID? People have been locked up. They want to get out. They want to get back to the shopping centers. They want to get walking. They want to get living again.
Dave, 100%, 100%. And there was talk the death of the shopping centers because everyone's going to be buying now things online. No.
So this goes back to the 1920s, right? Now you're going to say, Dave, what you on about? So we had the Spanish flu that killed a lot of people. And then we had the swinging 20s where everybody just went, I want to party.
Yeah.
Right. So are we going to see something similar? Is this going to be the swinging 20s again? We've had COVID. People want to get out to shopping centers. They want to get out drinking again. They want to start having fun. They want to start doing stuff.
Yes. Absolutely. And, we've been depressed. We've been depressed with COVID. We've been depressed with the war. We've been depressed now with the interest rates going up. Yeah. We just want to go out there, travel and party. Absolutely.
Okay.
We get sloshed.
So what's the best stock on the ASX to party? Oh, love group.
That's a bit different.
That's a bit different, yeah.
No, look, it's a good question. What would you be looking at? I still think the travel stocks, which are going quite well, right?
What about what about the hotel HPI?
Yeah, and maybe that other company we're looking at, the smaller ALO, I think, right? The Allogio, maybe. Have a look at Allogio, see what they are doing as a travel destination.
They're looking good. Not bad.
But I think travel, leisure is still probably pretty good. What else would you be looking at in that sort of sense? It's a pretty good question to ask, and let me have a think about it. Like, if we are going back to that swinging 20s, where we want to be,
do we have
have fun?
Do we have a really sort of good like nightclub, disco, restaurant type business listed on the ASX?
No, but what I'm thinking, okay, what about the one that's it's got the Gold Coast theme parks?
Yeah.
What's that one called? I think leisure something, isn't it? Leisure. What's the AGL? No, not AGL.
I think ARG, is it? I think they changed.
No,
they changed their code ALG.
Oh God, when we don't follow the story, let me have a look. I got it.
Yeah, I've got it.
ALG, yes. Okay. So, maybe something that will come up through over the next couple of months.
Yeah, maybe start happening. Okay, it's interesting though, Wolf.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely interesting and definitely something that we should be thinking about, I'd say. And anything pops up, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, so what are you going to do, Wolf? You're going to start going back to the disco?
Oh yeah. Well, when you say the word disco, it just shows your age, first of all. But yes.
You're doing I can see you doing
the disco.
I could see you there throwing your jacket off, doing the grease. Now quickly, DRE.
Yeah.
Anything there?
Yeah, look, good. Again, more positive commentary. Results are good. They're talking about I suppose now a bit more of a discovery. You know, previously they just had a few holes and they're thinking looks very promising. Now they're talking that this is starting to make sense. So looking quite good for DRE, but you've got to probably just have a bit of patience with this.
Right, Wolf. I think that's it. I'm pleased with all. I'm just having a quick look at some of those sort of buy signals. Looking great, aren't they? Going through quite nicely. I think PLS is still going up another 1%. You got WTC. Now there's one stock you want to talk about was Square SQ2.
Yes, please.
So the price action is good. I get it. It's early days. It's bounced up. If you look at Square in America, Wolfie, it's nearly there. It's certainly starting to look a lot better. What we've decided, a lot of these tech stocks are having a bounce. Is it a bounce or recovery? At the moment, it's still looking like a bounce. I think it needs to do a little bit more. If you can get over here and start trending, start swinging, we get back over 12,000. Well, then I think it's a recovery, not a bounce. But you know, get Square. It's one of the better stories in our market. Get it on your watch list. Get SQ2 on your watch list, and we'll just sort of, I suppose, watch it patiently.
I think that's like almost a canary in the coal mine, right? When this is going well, probably all the other tech stocks will be doing quite well.
Yeah, definitely. All right, good to see. Again, S32 recovering. We spoke about that yesterday as a hold, and it's actually looking reasonably good. And again, CTT. Yeah, that looks good, Wolf. There again, look at that buy signal, and you know, often you get a strong buy signal with a strong green candle, and it can break through resistance, which it did absolutely beautifully. But that's not a story that you particularly like.
No, but you know, we can still make a buck on this. It's just a high risk buck. That's all.
That little LRS obviously came out of a good announcement today because they're up 20%.
Yeah, well, look, I had a look at it. You know, the lithium results weren't too bad. So you know, this could be maybe still a bit of a trade to 14 cents, but again, it's going to be high risk type stuff. And if that suits you, go for it. I think this is the best one, Dave. CLX is just incredible, and it's cheap. You know, value, pays the dividends, upgrades galore. This is the one that could just keep going.
It could double. Well, it could. I mean, it could easily be on a P of 10, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could see this.
You can have it. You can see this at $2.50, $3 without blinking an eye and thinking that still looks reasonable, valuation wise.
All right, and all right. Listen, I'm generally pleased. I don't see. There's nothing that sort of we put out. We put out so many good stories on the weekend. They're all, generally speaking, looking pretty good, moving quite nicely.
Yeah.
I could argue Lavisa hasn't got going yet and could have a good announcement. I wonder about Lavisa, Wolf. I mean, if you look at all these retail doing very, very well.
Yeah.
I wonder Lavisa for a tight trade, if you had a stop just under 25, 24.90 and targeted that sort of $28.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those, you know, we've had pretty much most of the retailers reporting pretty well. You know, you're probably thinking to yourself, weight of numbers says they're going to report pretty well too, right?
Well, definitely. You fancy that for a trade?
Yes, although you know, Lavisa is not my favorite cup of tea, but yes, I agree with you. Yeah, as a trade, as a setup, yes. Yep.
Right. We know you don't like cheap jewelry.
only the best for Natalie.
But they're rolling up stores around the world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's a roll-up story, but you've got a tight stop on it. You see, that's what I like about it. You've got a resistance at 25. You've got a tight stop at 24.90 on a weekly, right? And you've got a target price of say maybe 28.50.
Yeah. And Dave, and I like this trade, but you know, I like the fact that we talked about SQ because I'm looking at some of the other tech stocks, and obviously Altium, because he had a buy signal as well. That's going very, very, very well today. I think you also talked about WTC, right? That we had that looked decent, but you know, another stock that's starting to look very, very good is Seek. That's breaking through all the resistances too. So there's a few stocks now starting to look in that sort of space that potentially could be a trade, maybe this week or next week, right? If they keep going with
I think if I was going to buy one, I'd still rather that SQ2. that Seek had that little bit of. I mean, to be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with someone buying that and say, okay, I've got my stop at 109, right?
Yep.
It might go on.
And the nice thing is, though, Dave, because remember they bought Afterpay, right? SQ. So you've got results now from Sezzle, you've got results from Zip, and they have obviously tightened their belts, like cut costs significantly, and they're actually growing. And the Zip commentary wasn't too bad, right? So you think to yourself, okay, Afterpay is probably the leader and probably the better thing. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of positivity coming back into SQ2 as a result of that. We'll see.
You know, why can't, listen, at the end of the day, we can have a high risk trade.
You can have a high risk trade if you want.
So we buy, because it could easily get to 140, right? But you've got to be disciplined with it, right? So
you do. Don't come back to us and say, you come back and I didn't sell. Because we're giving you the tools right now.
It's lightly traded. Look, the stop loss is the same there. I think you just do it on the. Oh,
What would you do? A 108?
it's a horrible. It doesn't give me it doesn't fill me full of love, this one. So I've got a high back there of 108.40. Do 107.
Okay.
Give a little bit of leeway.
That's good.
Right, 107. We target that. We target 140, right? So your upside is 40%. Your downside's about 8, is it roughly? Your upside about 30%, 25.
Yeah. No, I don't mind it because we've seen 2 days of really good action on the Nasdaq. And if, there's a couple of results that are actually better than expected in the US, we could have a bit of a rally because Nasdaq that's the only one that's been actually holding us back.
Well, and the Nasdaq is running obviously because the market is saying interest rates aren't going to go higher.
Correct. So it's the one that's laggard and needs to start looking better. So yes, that's why it's an educated early punt. Absolutely, I like it.
Right, it's a bit risky this because it's actually beginning of the week and we've broken up. So
we're gonna have a bit of fun.
Yeah, with other people's money. Thanks, Wolf.
No, they're doing their own money. We're just giving ideas, good or crap.
All right.
This is a good one, by the way. I like this one. I like this idea.
All right.
It's high risk, yes, but I think in a highly educated one, I think if we have another 2 or 3 days of good action in the US on a Nasdaq, I think you can get that 5, 6, 7, 10% out of this.
Okay. So I think
actually, Dave, before we go, let's see what they actually report, because that could be the big key here. So let me just.
Yeah, but I think that's why it's moving up because.
You think?
Well, maybe the general feeling might not be as bad.
I know, but I think that there's a risk, right? If they don't quite report what the people expect, that this could come crashing back to under $100 pretty quickly. So I suppose it's risk you got to take into consideration.
It's risk reward. So if they report well, then it has that big.
Exactly. Then 140 probably could be like reached within a day, right? So that's the risk you take.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not for everyone, but it's an interesting idea.
Okay. Well, certainly general share advice. Everyone can decide. Okay. Absolutely love it. So we've got 2 trades. Lavisa, both high risk these ones. So we've got 2 trades and SQ. So I'll put those on. And Wolfie, thank you very much. Have a good day, champion. And tonight live. Yes, please join us. Are very, very important. We've got so many great ideas coming out, and those ideas are actually going incredibly well. So those who are listening, they probably are sitting on a fortune. Let us pray. All right. Thanks, Wolfie. See you, mate. Yeah. Take care. Bye.